And we're live.
Hello. La, la, la. Hello, all welcome. It is Thursday night Generational Change. I'm Jen.
I'm Peter, and I think we are a little too far away. Slightly.
I don't feel far away.
You don't think so?
No.
Well, you don't want to be any closer.
I don't want to be any closer. Nobody needs to see my pores.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm rocking the Superman look tonight.
You are rocking the Superman look tonight. It's driving me crazy. I have to touch it.
No.
I have to move it over.
No.
I'm touching it.
No.
Oh, I am.
So anyway, it is a very sad day, to say the least.
No,
there's
it
a
is.
lot
I
of
feel
places,
bad even laughing. I can't even laugh.
Yeah, there's a lot of places we could start, but I think it is only fair that we start with one of the most despicable circumstances of this genocide. Remember, that's the key word here.
It's day, I think it's like
180? No, wait.
No, it's 140 something. It's 140.
We'll be at 180 before you know it, so, don't worry. Colin, please drop
day
the
100 and whatever 40 something of genocide.
Please drop the flower massacre as well.
The fact that we're calling it that is just.
Yeah, no. Look. So, as we had discussed at length, what's happening right now in Gaza, which is the second wave of the genocide, is the famine and starvation, which is taking effect. And of course, why not torture them first and then shoot them dead? Give them hope. Make them think they're going to get something to eat. And when they do, pow!
So if anybody hasn't been following,
was it 100 of them that got clipped today?
Yeah, but it's like 600 wounded from shrapnel and all sorts of stuff, because they used a variety of different things. There were snipers and drones, and it was like a variety. It wasn't just one thing.
Well, we're going to show you guys just how evil Knievel these guys can really be. It's pretty bad.
Police in Gaza say Israeli forces have committed a massacre in Gaza City, killing at least 104 Palestinians as they waited for food aid. Gaza's health ministry says over 760 people were wounded in what Hamas called an unprecedented war crime. According to eyewitnesses, Israeli forces opened fire on the crowd that had gathered around humanitarian aid trucks. The death toll is expected to rise as hospitals in Gaza City are struggling to treat the wounded.
So tonight at 4 a.m. it happened. Sunflower bags entered the north of Gaza Strip, and people started running to get that flour, to get that food for their families. So the Israeli tanks.
This is shooting fish in a barrel. This is think of it this way. For those of you who have never seen the movie Schindler's List, one of the most sinister Nazis during the rise of the Third Reich, particularly during the rise of the concentration and death camps, was a man named Amon Goeth. And what he did, I'm not kidding, was when he felt like it, he did target practice on Jews working in the camps and shooting them dead. And this is exactly what they're doing. They're shooting these desperate people who are just trying to eat dead. Why? For fun, you know. And I guarantee you that the ones that are doing this, they're having a grand old time doing it. They are laughing. They are cheering. Hey, I got that one. Hey,
well, they're having like a whole little genocide festival outside the border, with like it. Seriously, this is psychotic.
Yep, psychotic. Let's continue.
Opened the fire on them, shooting and killing more than 80 people, wounding more than 400 people. Their blood was mixed with the flour. The mothers and sisters, the family, will never bake that flour, will never bake that bread. They will never get back to their homes. They said goodbye to the family to get some food, and they will never get back with that food again.
I listen to her every morning, and I'm not really prepared to hear this again tonight.
But remember, they're just trying to kill Hamas. And if they get in the way, I mean, that's their...
But they're already coming out saying that this happened because Hamas, and that the Palestinians got rowdy or whatever sort of words they're using. And so they just needed to massacre a whole bunch of them. But it's because Hamas was there and Hamas did it. Hamas does everything.
Yes, it's always Hamas's fault. We know that. I'll continue.
They were killed. Israel is using the starvation weapon against us. Israel is using the starvation weapon against the north of Gaza Strip to force people to leave, to evacuate, to empty the north. They are starving people. They are killing them when they succeed to get some food.
Ola Randall.
There's a lot of disturbed people out there, and Lenny Velez, unfortunately, is one of them.
Just go. Seriously,
away.
Go watch somebody
you don't need to be here.
No, go watch somebody that is.
Go watch Ben Shapiro's channel. That'll make you feel better.
Or whatever other Zionist you listen to. Yeah. Go watch whatever you're listening to. Seriously.
Let me tell you, it's always easy to pontificate from a distance where you don't have bullets raining down upon you.
Here's what I
among
know.
Other things.
And I've said it a million times. You know Israel is lying when their lips are moving. Okay? So anything that comes out of the state of Israel is assume it's a lie first. First, it's a lie. They would actually need to go through like a 12-step verification process for me at this point to believe even like that the sky is blue coming out of their mouth. They lie about everything. And in fact, everything that they say the Palestinians do is actually what they do. Literally everything that they claim that Hamas does is what they do.
So for those of you who were watching Status Quo a little bit earlier, I'm sure you saw that there was a significant protest that took place in the city. Colin, please drop the NYPD
I hope
video.
so.
You know, we don't have to. I mean, I guess we could just play some snippets of it, but also drop the NYPD arrest video as well. So the response, this is not going away. Like, people are not going to stop protesting this. This is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And let me tell you, it's not a question of if things can be salvaged electorally. They cannot. This is just a question of whether there's any humanity that can be
Yeah, there is
Yeah,
absolutely nothing that this administration can do at this point regarding Israel that will get back the votes they lost because of it. Nothing.
No, and this is
There's no one at this point is just okay with a ceasefire.
beyond unforgivable.
At this point, it's like we're calling for a ceasefire because, we're human. But electorally speaking, anybody that is on this issue doesn't matter at this point. You're not getting their vote.
Agreed. Here we go.
How many kids did you kill today? Israel bombs, USA pays. How many kids did you kill today?
Children are beginning to die!
Children are beginning to die!
They have been dying from the bombs and bullets dropped on them by Israel!
They have been dying from the bombs and bullets dropped on them by Israel!
But now they are dying of starvation!
But now they are dying of starvation!
Now they are freezing to death!
Now they are freezing to death!
And when the people of Gaza had one opportunity in over a month to get food, the Israeli army rained bullets and bombs on them, massacring over 100 people. Just this morning, and injuring over 1,000.
Oh shit, they're going down to the subway. Hey guys, we are going into the subway.
That's what it was. I saw a picture of him. It's more than once.
Get on this train! Get off!
Free Palestine!
From the river!
Free Palestine!
Biden, you can't hide! You support genocide!
Push it down the street. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. That's on you. Do your job.
And here come the guardians of the gates to say, yeah, that's enough.
Yeah, I think,
now you got to get out of here.
and this is why we're seeing these immense amounts of cop cities, and that are actually going to be springing up, and some of them already exist all over the country. We're just focusing on the one in Atlanta because we know about it, but we will be getting into that. But this is a preview of the Hunger Games and the peacekeeper situation that we're going to be living with.
And remember, and the thing that you probably all have noticed, especially when it comes to the Free Palestinian protesters, they are very peaceful. They are exceptionally peaceful. And that is also because they're well organized and they are given strict instructions. You protest peacefully. End of discussion. So the head bashing, if you will, is going to come as instructed by the powers that be, not because they're doing anything wrong, but because this doesn't look good for the powers that be. That's all it is. So we'll finish it up.
Guys, share this. They got the batons out.
Back up. Back.
There's a lot of people that are in these groups, in these crowds, in these protests that are planted there to start trouble, to make the entire movement look like it's troublemakers.
Oh, there's always,
it happened with Black Lives Matter. We saw it repeatedly. It is absolutely happening with these things. I'm not saying that that's this. I don't know this particular person, but be aware that when you see peaceful movements, people that are demanding peace and the end of genocide, okay, generally speaking, the violence doesn't come from their end. It just doesn't.
No.
So when things do break out, there are often people that are planted in as agitators to discredit the movement. And just people need to be aware of that. I'm not saying every time, and I'm not saying that some people that are really angry about this, people like, you know, that would be willing to set themselves on fire about something they believe in, would be willing to get into it with the popo.
Let's finish it off.
Where are you indicted on corrupt charges?
Get out of the street right now. We're going to start making arrests.
Where are you indicted?
Protesters are trapped in here.
That's true. I got to tell you, it really bothered me about Osiris's opinion about the flag. And I think that we need to kind of work on dismantling people's thoughts about what the Palestinian flag is. And it's very upsetting to me that it's being linked to anything remotely nefarious.
You just have to realize that what you have here is just a situation that is only going to get more hostile, more volatile, and there's going to be riots. Like, this is going to get really bad because the president is not doing anything. In fact, he's making it so much worse. And then you have complicity coming from all angles. People are just not stepping up the way that they need to step up. And that is the worst possible situation that we're faced with here. And one of the reasons I bring this up, because our esteemed guest is here. She happens to be one of the only people in the Florida State House, as far as I know, that has actually said anything of any substance.
And we could talk about the fact that it is my representative.
Well,
it is my representative. There she is.
Yes.
My representative in the Florida State House, just so you people realize, his name is Michael Gottlieb. And he is essentially the microcosm of Debbie Wasserman Schultz on the congressional level. So Michael Gottlieb is the person who introduced the bill or resolution into our state house, saying that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, because we need it on both the state and the federal level. We need to sign on to nonsense. So this is somebody who apparently declined to do so.
She is one of the very few people that truly stands out in an otherwise obscene world that is the political arena in the state of Florida. But she is doing a great job, much like our friend Anna Escamani in Central Florida. Well, here is a very esteemed representative in Northeast Florida of Florida's District 13, Angie Nixon. Welcome to Generational Change. You are on.
Thank you for having me. I'm sorry I'm not on my camera. I'm driving at the moment.
That's okay. I kind of wanted to see your cute self, but that's okay. Thank you for being able to join us. I appreciate you from a distance, for sure. I don't know if you were listening to like the intro, but I know you've come under some scrutiny and you've gotten some crap as of late, and that really pisses me off. So I was hoping you would share what happened in the Florida State House with because a lot of our people aren't Florida people that are listening and watching.
No, yeah, for sure. So, back in, was it November, after everything started happening in Israel and Gaza, I issued a resolution calling for a ceasefire, calling to an end to Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, all the things. And particularly in the close of my debate, I asked how many Palestinians would be enough, how many dead Palestinians would be enough to call for a ceasefire. And Michelle Salzman, based out of the Panhandle, said all of them. And so not only that, but, you know, Randy Fine, who is someone who, if you ever say anything contrary to whatever he believes, even if it doesn't have anything to do with the Jewish community or Israel, he will label you an anti-Semite or call you something ridiculous or disrespectful. He basically whipped all the Republicans to stand up and turn their backs on me after I...
He is the worst representative in the Florida House, as far as I'm concerned. And there are.
I think we're having tech issues. I don't know where she's driving. She might be driving through like a dead spot or something.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Now we can. Yeah, I think you drove through like a dead zone or something.
Oh, sorry. I actually had stopped. But yeah, no. So I just continually try to speak out and push back against harmful bills that actually target marginalized communities. So
no, and I appreciate that. And it's so frustrating to me as a Jewish person. And I talk about this a lot on this show because this is something that just is obviously a big issue. It is infuriating to me when people use the anti-Semitism card when it is not anti-Semitism, and they damn well know it's not. Okay, that's the thing. They know it's not, and they're using that because it's like almost like a marketing ploy. Hi, there you are. It's nice to meet you. So it's infuriating, and I hate it especially when I feel like it's against people when you're not in the Jewish community. Like, it's not as easy for you to defend yourself. It's like if you're labeled as anti-Semitic, it's like it just, the stink gets on you, even when it's not true. And it's so frustrating. And our friend Nina Turner has had to deal with that as of late and in the past. And it's exceptionally, I know, very upsetting for people to get called out when it's not even true.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's hurtful too, especially since, you know, at times I have spoken out against anti-Semitism before many of my Republican colleagues have, you know, when there were neo-Nazis running around saying things like death to Jews all across the state of Florida. Like, I spoke out, and to be labeled that when, you know, I just wanted peace in a time where, like, all rationale has kind of gone out the window as it relates to what's going on with those people that are like losing their lives, who had absolutely nothing to do with Hamas, right? Like, they have no say in where they were born, and like now their lives have forever been turned upside down. And so it's just not right.
So I just wanted to ask you, you had heard I briefly mentioned, and the fact that it was my representative, I know, that put forth that initiative, that statewide version that declares that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. And that passed, right?
Yeah, that passed. And they actually, though, they brought it back up today, changing some portions of the bill that we didn't like, and I did vote for, because they took out, like what you're stating, like they took out our inability to criticize Israel, and it was another portion that they took out. And so they worked with many of our, you know, Muslim brothers and sisters to help like get that bill right.
What bothers me the most about all of it, and I've said it many times, whether or not I agree with what they're doing, I look around the state of Florida, and I'm sure you agree, Angie, there's a lot of important things that could be being worked on that need to be done, that it really just pisses me off to no end, quite honestly, that my state legislators, who really have nothing to do with Israel or its policies or its governance, are actually wasting their time having to deal with this bullshit when we have a housing crisis and a flooding crisis and all this shit.
Insurance crisis.
Right. Well, that's what I mean by like housing. So that's what frustrates me the most. It's like, why are we sitting there? Why are we legislating what is and is not anti-Semitism instead of just helping people, you know, live? That's what pisses me off.
Yeah. So there was also a bill today that we had to deal with. It was basically a stop woke bill regarding educators being trained on or having conversations about not just critical race theory, but just systemic racism and just all the things in general. And so, like, it got so heated and spirited debate. They called it spirited debate. And I want to say, like, it was disrespectful debate coming from you.
Wait, go back. Please go back. Wait, you froze for a second. Something happened. Before we go live then. I'm sorry you froze. I'm sorry about that.
No, I'm sorry.
No, that stuff pisses me off too. Just so you're aware. It's the same. I put it in the same bucket. We're doing bullshit wedge issues to keep everybody fighting amongst themselves, and meanwhile, we have food insecurity and a housing crisis.
But listen, this is what got me was it was like your Randy Fines and your Alexandrides, the ones that, you know, speak out against anti-Semitism, but like won't allow Black people to say that we're feeling marginalized and attacked. And so I'm like, yo, like, what's up with that?
Yeah, well, Jews like to play the victim card, and I'm gonna just say, and then I will let you go off on whatever tangent you want to go off.
I'm not going off on a tangent.
I know that I cut you off, but I'm saying that, like, this whole concept that we've somehow established that we're such victims that you're not allowed to criticize anything or whatever is infuriating to me, because Jews are not victims, Jews are survivors. And what really pisses me off is that even when we're talking about anti-Semitism, we're talking about things like hate speech and hate crimes. Those are individual things. Hate crimes need to be prosecuted. I get that. Personally, I don't have a problem with hate speech. I like to know who my bigots are. So like that's not a problem for me. But tell me where there is some sort of systemic oppression of Jews. That's what I want to know, because this is what really pisses me off. That when we're talking about the Black racist, anti all whatever Black issues, it's not because people say mean things and paint mean shit. It's because it's a system. And I don't get how Jews get off on claiming any sort of victimhood. That's what I don't understand. Am I missing something?
So I can't speak for the Jewish community. I can only speak for being a Black woman. And so I just would love it and appreciate it if, you know, like Representative Jock today, he called wokeness like garbage and rubbish. And I'm like, how is it that us telling you how we feel and how detrimental slavery has been, because, you know, they put it in the curriculum that slavery benefited Black people. Like, how is it that us as Black people telling you that slavery was a detriment, and it's still a detriment, like, to us based on the system that has been created from it, right? Like, how can you say that's garbage and rubbish? Like, I would hope that someone like Randy Fine and your Alexandrides would, you know, be empathetic to that type of thing, but like they're not.
Yeah.
No, self-serving as always, but you're doing something that's not self-serving. You're actually serving, which is nice, because that's what you're supposed to be doing.
I feel bad for all you on defense.
So,
it's so sad.
For those of you who do not know, Angie Nixon is the representative who is responsible for the bookstore coming to North Jacksonville, which will house banned books and focus on Black history. God forbid. Oh, how could you?
I wish we had something like that here. I would be happy to donate to something like that. Is that something that's like a charity thing, or is it just something that?
So yes, for sure. So definitely, we have. It's not only a bookstore. It's also a coffee. It's going to be a coffee shop and a community hub. It's an organizing hub, so that we can actually work towards building power within Northwest Jacksonville and Jacksonville in general. And so we already have some organizing groups, some community organizing groups that have come and utilize the space. We've also partnered with a statewide group called the Black History Project. They come in and they teach middle schooler and high school students like true Black history. And then there's some groups that work with returning citizens, helping them learn how to get their rights restored. We have some other organizations working, well, they were working towards trying to get a police accountability board, a public safety board, but they also just work to try to hold the police accountable. And so I'm super excited about Cafe Resistance Bookstore and the environment that we're creating and the resistance to fascism and racism and xenophobia and all the things, right? I'm excited about what we're creating in that space.
You're going to have a kids section, yes? There's
a
kid.
Of course. I have 5 children, so of course. And one of them being 3 years old, we're definitely going to have a kids section.
Fellow comrades in battle. I love that. We're raising revolutionaries. Look, you know what, though? Seriously, this is how it happens. These people, if something is banned, then I want to read it because obviously it's banned for a reason. Are you in the county? One of our counties somewhere banned the dictionary.
No, not us. That was more so the panhandle, I think.
Okay, it's not a selling point to Florida, and I'm really curious as to what it was in the dictionary. See, my theory is that it's queer. They have a real problem with everything having to do with queer. I'm just saying.
Yeah, when I found out they banned the dictionary, I was like,
okay, that's how you were. Okay,
The goal is to combat the lack of diversity in literature and support educational programs for children in the area.
This is important.
So for those of you who do not know, Jacksonville is another one of the cities of America that has the haves and the have-nots. And of course, it always falls on the communities of color that struggle mightily, especially on the west side of the city compared to the east side, where all the wonderful waterfront money tends to fall. And so being able to have community get-togethers in combination of, again, you could look at it as like a Barnes and Noble type of style where you have the book section and the coffee section, but also the learning section. This is going to be very beneficial because, as you said, when people are asking, why do we need something like this? I don't know. Why don't you ask the legislators that don't want us to have these things? It's like somebody's got to fight back against it.
No, they want us to be stupid. And when I say it like that's what I call the 00 stupid, right? Like stupid. And that's really what they want because you don't want people to know what they're entitled to. See, that's the thing. You keep everybody stupid. We're all just rubes. No, I think it's awesome. And we've actually had a couple of shows on here addressing there have been several different pieces of legislation along this journey that have basically been squashing Black history, whether it was the AP class, there have been few things. And we've covered it a few times, and nothing infuriates me more than like censorship or refusing people accurate information. Like, to me, that's the scariest possible thing you can do. And I have so much anger about what I wasn't taught as a kid about Black history, like very deliberately. And now to see that we know better and they're still trying to do it, it's like, I can't even. I would love to be in a room with some douche like Randy Fine for just like seriously. And I honestly would love some of these people to start talking like that about, I can't even.
And I do wonder now that the governor is no longer running for president, if he's going to actually govern like a real governor instead of somebody who's trying to become the president.
Oh, don't tell Randy Fine I called him a douche, although I would probably call him a douche to his face because quite honestly,
he kind of looks like one as much as he acts like one.
God.
So,
and by the way, I wouldn't do that like in a real discourse. I'm saying, I wouldn't address somebody like that in a public situation because it's unproductive, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, he tries to address us that way, so it's like.
Okay, so then I feel better about it. Because we have
whatever you feel.
So you're not saying you support it, but you're not necessarily saying you would discount it either, is what you're saying.
Yeah, unfortunately, trying to get anything positive done in Tallahassee is very difficult. But there are some really solid fighters up there. Again, we've mentioned Dan Escamani. She really has done an amazing job. And obviously down here we do have State Senator Chevron Jones. So there are
There's some people.
yeah,
We
there
have some
are,
fighters.
Who am I forgetting?
Well, our reps, Marie Woodson, Robin Bartleman, like we've got some decent
No, the
people,
lady
but
in
they're all
Miami that I'm
jumping on
forgetting.
board for
Who's the
Zionism.
lady in Miami again?
Dottie?
No, well, Dottie Joseph, yes,
Dottie
but there's,
Joseph.
no, there's the one that we had on the show. I don't know.
I can't remember. Oh,
Jan?
yes, Ashley.
Ashley Gann.
Yes,
She's great.
she's great.
She's great.
Yeah. She
So-
gave a very powerful speech today against that the Stop Woke bill.
Good.
So, yeah, it was great.
That's awesome. You guys are awesome, the people that are fighting.
Yeah.
But I honestly, it's like just constant defense dealing with such ignoramus. I honestly do not understand. Like they want us to be so stupid.
Angie, we're obviously very appreciative that you did come on this evening. Is there a place that people
Yeah.
can go to support the bookstore?
I would
even
like
if they're
to.
not able to be there in person in order to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would suggest, I can't do any type of fundraising for anything, but I would love folks. We're still fleshing out and cleaning up the social media site. So like just follow me on social media and I will broadcast everything. And so
Okay.
I'm on Twitter at Angie Nixon, and I'm also on TikTok and Instagram, Angie4FL. So please, please, please follow me. Keep up with me. I give legislative updates. I let people into my family life every now and then. And you also will learn more about the bookstore and how I'm continuing the fight for Florida.
Yeah, I want to help that. That's very important. I would love to set up, and we had somebody on here who's an educator and does preschool and stuff, and it's a Pan-African centric program, and it's just really cool. She's a friend of a friend, and they teach obviously all the stuff that they ought to be teaching, but I would love to have like an actual program where somebody is doing an online course in a way of what the stuff that they're missing. Or filling in gaps for stuff that they're not getting in public school. And I would love to, and I always put this out there, if there's anything I can ever do to help facilitate that, like, I think it's so important. I don't want to be around stupid people. So that's just my personal preference. I prefer to be around educated and healthy people as opposed to stupid and unhealthy people, but that's just me.
I think people will be a certain way because that's their choice.
Well, that's fine, but it's important to me about, especially in Florida, that they are telling us what we can't learn to specifically go out of our way to teach that. That's as a matter of FU, but just seriously, this is an important topic of information.
Well,
I'm sorry, I'm in rare form. I'm in rare form right now. But if seriously, I'd be very happy to donate to that. So please, I know that you can't fundraise for it, but if there is anything we can do, please reach out.
For sure, for sure. Thank y'all for having me. I really appreciate it. And I'm sorry it took so long for me to...
No, it's okay. And you know what? It was worth it because now I'm adding you to the Escamani list.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
The Escamani list of goodness.
Yeah.
I love it. That's my girl.
She's your girl, right? Oh,
We're like this. We're like this.
Yeah. Well, one of you is going to have to run for governor once DeSantis terms out. So
well, look, now I met you, but I've been every so often we'll be talking about, I'll be like Escamani 26 and just go about.
I support that. I support that.
Mm-hmm.
She's awesome. And so, and you are too. And I appreciate you. Thank you all the way from down here in South Florida.
Y'all have a good night. Bye.
Angie. Lovely lady.
We have really good people fighting the good fight. And that is why I get very annoyed when people just cast aside Florida when I'm telling you.
It is kind of amazing how significantly different it is when you go from the state house to the federal.
And also that to me that somebody in Jacksonville is fighting for the people in Jacksonville is really good. And I forgot to verify this with her, but tidbit, I know, right, Chip? It's crazy. Tidbit of information, and somebody check this because it may or may not be. That's Chip too. Oh. Somebody check me, but this used to be true, and I don't know if it still is. But at some point, Jacksonville was the largest city geographic space in the country. The largest incorporated city in terms of geographic size. And it's really big.
Jacksonville is also the most electorally split city in the country between red and blue.
It is. It's very interesting. It is. But I'm glad they have someone like her.
Yeah, make sure you smash it. Well, listen, she's being primaried right now, so we didn't even get a chance to talk about
God.
that. Didn't want to prolong the conversation because the audio.
You know why? Because she's clearly an anti-Semite, so
yes,
they can't have that there.
No, they cannot. Smash that like button. Make sure that you are subscribed. Make sure that if you haven't already, get over to patreon.com/generational change for as little as $5 a month. You can become a supporter of our small but mighty channel. I already did.
Oh, okay.
I already did.
Sorry,
put it up.
I agree, Steve. Did you put our patrons across?
Yes.
Okay.
So make sure
Chip
that you
too.
do that. Chip too. That's good to know. Make sure.
I know all of Chip's alter egos.
Make sure that you can also go over to Cash App if you decide that you ultimately do not want to put your information on the grid, because not everybody wants to do that. So what you can do
You're
is
right, Travers.
So what you can do is go over to Cash App $GenChange, and any amount that you want to contribute is obviously tremendously appreciated.
And somebody at one point, it might have been Tony, actually. I'm not sure entirely. Okay, it's coming. Well, I gave it to the lady at the bank to put in with their bank mail. It'll be there. And I hope I'm not getting your hopes up on it. Think of Aaron. Oh. Yeah, no, I hear you. I also have a very, very dear friend named Aaron, and I do think of him too as also.
So I'm going to say this, as I've said before, and I have a much higher tolerance for this than Jen does for obvious reasons. We don't block people from our channel if they want to voice their opinion, even if it's opinion that we don't agree with.
Absolutely not.
And if Lenny Velez is still hate watching, which I'm sure he is, here's what you have to understand. And this is the rule that has been going out on this channel for the longest time, and everyone knows this.
Yeah.
If you spam the chat, you're blocked.
Yeah.
That's the end of the discussion.
It isn't whether or not we agree with you. I don't like all caps. I don't like.
Yeah, and I took sympathy on you because I really want people to have discourse. So I wanted you gone. So I put you in a timeout, and the second you get back, you do it again.
And then
do you really expect not to get kicked out?
And then I kicked you out. We have nice people here.
Yeah.
Even people that don't agree with each other, and everybody and this is one of my favorite things about this channel and our people and our viewers is we're small, but we're mighty, and our people are loyal, and I have really nice discourse. We know who thinks what, we don't all agree, and that's fabulous. I think it's great, but we don't need people just being obnoxious and basically doing the equivalent of screaming. If you're doing the chat equivalent of yelling, we don't need that.
No, 100%. And again, that's the thing about us. We're not here to silence dissent. If you don't agree, hey, listen, you could be out here saying death to Palestinians, I support Israel. Okay, fine. But you're going to hear it from the chat.
And you say it once, and that's fine. You've made your peace. If you keep going on and on and on,
writing in caps and messaging 12 times over so that the other 30, 40 people in the chat who want to voice their opinion about something can't have their message seen. I don't expect everyone who's here to have to make a contribution so they get their message.
And me, myself, and I appreciate that. I think I needed to be checked. So I appreciate that. He was correct.
Yeah. And if anybody knows anything about what it's like to have to check other people, and Lord knows she's been through it one too many times at his home. And I have said before, everybody knows that Nina Turner is a personal friend of ours. I have never seen somebody with more tolerance as a Black woman than the moment that she was confronted on CNN by Hillary Rosen of SKD.
Oh, you're talking about that time a few years back. Oh, my God. This is how Nina should be sainted for
this lady basically told Nina to get back on the plantation. And the fact that Nina was willing to just, I was beside myself, and I am not easily I don't easily get upset about anything.
Oh,
I cannot believe that Nina sat there and took it.
I would have grabbed her.
It's not that she wanted to take it. It's that she was just trying to be as professional as humanly possible.
I would love for someone like Mo to be in something like that and have somebody say that and see what happens.
No, Mo would have said, "All right, girl, I'm going to find you, and we're going to have it."
No, I think she would jump across the desk.
Well, I don't know if they were at the same. I don't think they were in the same place. I think it was.
Oh, that's right. They were two separate. Because
I highly doubt that Hillary Rosen would have talked like that to Nina.
I felt like jumping through the TV and grabbing her by her hair when she said that to Nina.
100%. So, as many of you know, there was a primary. Yes, it actually happened. There was a primary in Michigan 2 days ago, and the results of that primary indicate that President Biden's in a lot of trouble.
I didn't need that primary to tell me that. But what's funny is they're going to sit there and try to downplay. They actually are now having to fight against Uncommitted. They're actually now having to downplay 100,000 plus uncommitted votes. Now they could sit there and they could say it's whatever percentage it is. I don't know whatever percentage it is. But they had record turnout for this. And I assure you it was for uncommitted. And that absolutely. And so they could downplay it all they want, but he only won Michigan by what? What did he win Michigan by in 20? Like 150,000 votes or something like that?
And before we start, and it was 13%.
Okay.
And unfortunately, the other people who were not in there are those who are voicing this opinion about Marianne and Dean and the fact that, they were still running technically. Look, the fact of the matter is a lot of those votes were cast early, and that's where they came from.
Do not send your money in that direction.
But don't, please don't.
Don't support that.
If you have causes like what's happening in the state of Washington, where the biggest labor union there is also pushing for an uncommitted vote in their primary, because remember, there's still a primary going on.
Yeah.
Whether people want to admit it or not.
Do not support at this point any campaigns in the Democratic primary. Just
Thank
don't.
you very much, Chris. And anybody else who has not smashed that like button, make sure that you do. We want to get as many people in here as possible. The numbers are picking up. We're around 30 now. We want to get to that 50 number, which is what we've been cruising at consistently as of late. So now, as we mentioned, we are going to talk about our good friend who was on the CNN panel, post this uncommitted vote the other night, 100,000. Nina Turner was not holding back regarding what this actual vote means in the grand scheme of things.
And Anderson Cooper's been dead to me for a long time, but this just
He's a Vanderbilt. He doesn't care. So here we go.
These voters are doing is raising their voices and saying this is an issue that matters to us tonight. This is an issue that matters to us tomorrow, and the White House needs to listen. And I think the White House is listening to that message. But, this is, if he's able to reel off these successes, then tonight actually will be a success for all, and you'll have a different outcome come November, because I'll pass it to Nina or whomever can help me understand.
Just remember, his name is not Bakari Sellers, it's Bakari Sellout, and I'm sticking to that. So just wanted to put that out there.
But I don't think for many voters who are voting uncommitted that they're going to vote uncommitted and then say Donald Trump is my choice. I think this is more complicated than that.
Yeah, I do agree with you, Bakari. I mean, no one that I interface with said that they wanted to vote for Donald J. Trump. There is a however here. And I think sometimes as we talk about this issue, we're centering President Biden. We are centering former President Donald J. Trump, when the uncommitted effort is to center the people closest to the pain. And that is the Arab American community. That is the Palestinian community. That is communities that care about peace. And so while this president was in the ice cream shop saying, I think there's going to be a ceasefire, 30,000 people have been slaughtered.
That is the truth.
And she's somehow the problem.
Yeah, there's no glossing over this. And like you said, the whole image of him licking the ice cream.
That is his legacy. That will forever be.
Maybe we'll get around to the ceasefire in about 7 days.
He's licking an ice cream. Again, and I say this seriously, whoever on that team allowed for there to be a press interaction while he was eating an ice cream cone that will now be the forever meme of his legacy, that person should never work in politics again. Whoever, I don't care what his head is. The fact that they let the press question him in that moment, and that is so, they're not even trying to look competent at this point.
No, and maybe they, like you said, but as I've pointed out many times before, if Trump does get in again, I don't think the Dems are going to have anywhere near the success that they had last time when it came to fundraising off of him. I don't think it'll be anything like it once was.
And by the way, Nina looks fabulous.
She does. We'll continue.
People are living in famine. They can't get medical care, so it can't come soon enough for them. And that was really the weight that I picked up on when I was in Dearborn. So we get to be comfortable and talk about this like these people are widgets when they are in fact suffering. And I am young enough to remember, colleagues, when Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib and also Congresswoman Cori Bush called for a ceasefire very early on. They were called abhorrent. Now, fast forward to all of these bodies laying in the wake and people who are living through this every single day.
Oh,
you know that Anderson is getting the talk
Somebody
from
said,
the
"Cut her
producer.
off.
Shut her up. Shut her up.
As soon as she mentioned Rashida Tlaib and Cori Bush, somebody said, that's enough. You got to stop her. But she got
By the way, there's also been slaughter in Israel.
I was going to say,
so there's a lot of pain on
both sides. Both sides. Very important.
Wait, but wait till you hear what he says when he gets cut off. Wait until you guys hear this.
both sides.
No,
So
I'm
we
not-
don't really
I'm
need
not-
a lecture on the problem, but I'm talking about the politics.
Clearly, you do, Anderson. See, he says we don't need a lecture
We
on
don't
the
need a
problem.
lecture.
We don't need a lecture on
We
the
don't
problem.
need a lecture. Quite frankly, Anderson, why don't you really go where you would like to go, or where anybody would go if they could get away with it? We don't need a lecture from the colored woman on the panel to tell us what we already know.
We don't need a lecture.
Fucking care.
And
Because you don't.
And yet, I'm looking at people that are not. I
And the
cannot
way that
imagine people
she-
more in need of a lecture.
The way that she is able to do this with such
Oh my God.
persistence without being like, you really can't help but just throw tropes in my direction, can
No,
you?
not
Like, you
just
can't
that,
help
but
it.
just
We
the
don't need a
two-siding it.
The way, I mean, honest to God, when you say we
Stay
don't
in
need
your
a
place.
we don't need a lecture, we invited you on here as the token guest. We didn't invite you on here
Actually, tell us
to
things.
tell us things. Not allowed.
No, you're just supposed to sit there and look pretty.
This tonight, what to you would be a victory, as somebody was calling for this uncommitted vote, what to you would be a victory tonight to get that message across?
I'm not denying that pain. All I'm saying that at a certain point after October the 7th, it becomes clear. I mean, you have a right-wing prime minister.
Right. We don't need to
who has
debate the
said-
issue.
But you understand what I'm saying? I'm not denying it.
He cannot, and you can tell. Listen, I love her, but I can tell that she was rocked by his reaction. Like, there's something about the way he responded to her, as if to say
Condescendingly.
the level of condescension was borderline. You know,
I don't know. I don't think she's thinking. Like, I don't think she's intimidated by Anderson.
I don't think she's
Cooper.
intimidated. I just think when somebody talks to you, like, we're not here for your lecture. Like, that's almost like, why?
We're not here to debate the issue. Oh, okay. You're right. You're not. You're there to be a stenographer of the state.
Him. This guy is the son of a Vanderbilt. Like, do people? A lot of people don't know that.
No, but even still, let me tell you something. I used to respect Anderson Cooper because back in the day, he actually was a journalist and he actually was pretty decent. Look, just like Rachel Maddow. Look, there were people that back at a certain point actually had a function. Anderson Cooper was actually somebody that specifically never used his Vanderbilt name and specifically did what he did.
That doesn't mean that doors were not
No,
open
of
for
course
him.
it doesn't. But he never is someone. I'm just saying, like, I used to have respect for him. He's been dead to me for years at this point.
Nepotism to the max.
I understand that, but he doesn't advertise being a Vanderbilt, is my point.
Finishing it off.
Anybody's pain. What I am saying is that this president and our country has the power to say to Netanyahu, we need a permanent ceasefire. The only time
Within
hostages,
reason, though, if I can push back here,
wait,
I
one more point. The only time hostages were released is when we had that brief ceasefire. That is another reason why we need a permanent ceasefire.
I also have to remind people we had a ceasefire prior to October 7th.
No!
Right? I mean, that.
Like I said, that's why your name is Bakari Sellout, and everybody should be calling him as such.
Oh my God, that's not okay. That's so infuriating to me. Okay, well, first of all, I find it always very telling that anybody who thinks of a situation as peaceful when there's no justice actually thinks it's real peace. Peace can only exist with justice. Those things that you cannot have peace. You can have oppression. You can keep people quiet. You can stifle them, but it's not peace. And the fact that he would even refer to that as a ceasefire,
He's getting a nice big check and a big pat on the back.
Oh my
for saying
God,
that.
somebody.
That's a point. And I get centering people, and I completely understand that. But I think, Anderson, your point is valid as well, that there is a lot of pain to go around, and we cannot forget that. But I'm talking about tangible solutions.
Tangible solutions. Tangible solutions from this guy.
Yeah, Schulte, his mother was Gloria Vanderbilt. Because the reason he's Cooper is when his father was Cooper, and that was her, I don't know, whatever husband, but it doesn't matter because she's a Vanderbilt.
You know, Nina's always said that skin folk ain't necessarily kinfolk. And in this case, the fact that Bakari is trying not to offend Nina, but also please his masters is really pathetic.
Where is Tim Black on this when you need him? I'm going to have to
There
see.
was a ceasefire before October 7th. And what about the 700 Palestinians that were murdered just in the year in question prior to October 7th by the IDF?
I'm more upset about just how they were talking to Nina Turner, quite honestly.
Is it really surprising? Though?
No, it's disgusting.
Of course. And that's just how it goes.
She's the only person sitting there that gives a shit about anybody. Seriously, I was looking at that. Was that David Axelrod? Is that who that was sitting there? That guy who's been around since like the dawn of the Clinton era?
Because
Whatever.
he just has so much important knowledge to drop.
Those people are useless.
And then
They're a
you
bunch
have-
of tools. And Nina's actually the fact that she's even willing to grace them with her presence.
The fact that you had that lady, I don't know her name, but she's from The View, who's the conservative that they put on the panel with the red jacket in the middle. Nina, if I may push back on you, you really don't know what you're talking about.
Is that what she said? You don't know what you're talking about?
Yeah, she's like,
she didn't say you don't know what you're talking about.
No, she was.
Okay.
She was interjecting this idea of you don't know, you're wrong about what's actually
Well, no,
going on.
they have a certain amount of Zionist talking points that they have to interject at any time that somebody even mentions the word ceasefire.
I mean, doesn't everybody know at this point that they're collecting a certain amount of money, that's kind of where it's all coming from?
Well,
That's
and again, what I've been saying over and over and over again, at this point, as far as, and what these people on this show right there are talking about is electoral stuff. So I'm speaking of it from an electoral perspective, not a human perspective. From an electoral perspective, the ceasefire is irrelevant.
Hey, you want a ceasefire? Here's
it's irrelevant now.
Here's where the ceasefire is coming. Because I think this is very important.
I can't with this.
This is exciting.
This is this man's legacy, and I hope it is. I will make this be this man's legacy.
The meme to end all memes, ladies and gentlemen.
Can you give us a sense of when you think that ceasefire will start, sir?
Well, I hope by the beginning of the weekend. I mean, the end of the weekend. At least my national security advisor tells me that we're close. We're close. It's not done yet. And my hope is by next Monday, we'll have a ceasefire.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, first of all, the fact that anybody...
What was it? Chocolate chip? Vanilla chocolate chip? Was
whatever.
That it did look like a good idea.
It's so absurd that the president is saying, I hope to have this done. Can you imagine, like, LBJ, I hope. My advisors tell me so, but I hope I can get this done. Let me ask you people who are so consumed, if anybody not in our audience is consumed with this, about like who actually becomes president, because we know that it really doesn't matter. But if being president is so powerful and Joe Biden is so good, then why is he only hoping for an outcome? He hopes. I hope to get it done. He is like out of a Song of the South video. That is what he looks like. Ridiculous to me. Standing with his ice cream cone. And his advisor, or whoever is standing with him with an ice cream cone. I am telling you, whoever is the media person on that team must be fired immediately for allowing this to happen. And I'm not a fan. Like, I appreciate that we got to see it. But, oh my God.
And then, Colin, I don't know if you have the clip or not, but the president came out this afternoon and was asked again. So...
Oh, and now
is the ceasefire actually going to happen over the weekend? He's like, yeah, it's not going to happen, man. It's like, well, of course not. It's
he
not
was
like,
hoping it would, but nah, it's just.
I'm just the leader of the free world, but I can't actually do it.
No, because you know who we should ask. You know who could get it done? The parliamentarian.
Yes.
We need to bring in the parliamentarian on this one, because then maybe. But again, yes, permanent ceasefire. And again, to go to what was his name? Bakari, whatever. That guy, I don't even know who that is, but he's an idiot. So I don't know who that is. I don't know what he's from. I've heard the name, but he means nothing to me. Oh, what's this?
The president did make a statement earlier today, asked again about whether or not we will have a permanent ceasefire.
Not all Democrats are Zionists. Stop saying that. Stop
Colin,
labeling.
let's cue it.
The ceasefire is possible by Monday, sir.
Hope springs eternal. I was on the telephone with the people in the region. Probably not by Monday, but I'm hopeful.
Okay, Colin, play it one more time, please.
The ceasefire is possible by Monday, sir.
Hope springs eternal. I was on the telephone with the people in the region. I'm still probably not by Monday, but I'm hopeful.
He's hopeful.
Probably not by Monday, but I'm hopeful. You're the president of the effing United
But he's
States of
hopeful.
America. But we have to
Just
vote. We
happy-go-lucky.
must vote for him again.
He's hopeful.
We must.
He's hopeful again, and I'm very loath about the term ceasefire in general. I don't like that we're even using it. I mean, I know we have to call for everybody to stop getting
We need a
dead.
one-state solution, is what we need.
Well, we need but this is not. You say ceasefire when it's a war, right? And again, I'm very big on the idea that words matter. So, and I've said this all along. This is not a war. So why would it require a ceasefire? A ceasefire means that there's two sides shooting at each other, and we're going to stop that so that we can broker a peace. This isn't that. So why are we calling it a ceasefire? What we're asking is would you, sirs, kindly please stop the genocide? To which the answer is apparently, yeah, no. And while our president is hopeful that they might stop the genocide, he is also completely okay with if they don't. And so is everyone else that's sitting there and complicit. They're saying, we'd like them to stop, but if they don't, clearly you're not that upset about it. The fact that Nancy Pelosi flat out lied about that we're not facilitating that in some way with weapons is just, I don't even know who believes that. Is there anybody who believes that? I just, so it's just absurd. So again, I hate the term ceasefire. We don't need a ceasefire. Okay. We would kindly seek the cease to a genocide. Ceasefire implies war. This is not a war. This is just not a war. That's literally shooting people in a cage.
Yeah.
So no, we don't need a ceasefire. We need a single state. We need the fascists out of there, and we need all the people from the river to the sea to be free and live in harmony.
You know, the problem, Loner, is that I don't think he knows. I think he's just in his mental functioning capacities are completely shot. But even if they weren't shot, I think people just have to understand that we're at crossroads now.
And you guys know, I am.
There's no putting the genie back in the bottle. Yeah. There is no changing the realities of what's going on in this country right now.
You know what we need? Not a ceasefire. We need a government of people that see that this isn't about a ceasefire.
No.
See, if we had people that understood what this was, well, no, they understand. They just don't care. If we had people that were actually interested in stopping this, it would be stopped. It would be stopped. Okay, we've had enough military people on this show that know what they're talking about, that have said very, very clearly that Israel would never be able to be doing this without us sending them what we're sending them.
Yeah.
So, and it's from people that I believe infinitely more than Nancy Antoinette. So I just, I don't, and the thing is, they could put up whatever they want. I don't believe a thing that Israel says. I will never believe anything that comes out of their mouth. And maybe sometimes they're true. I mean, a broken clock is right twice a day. Maybe sometimes Israel's being truthful. I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't care, because you've lied to me so many times that it doesn't matter. I will never believe you. And it doesn't matter who's the prime minister. If you're a Zionist, then I don't believe you, because you're selling something that is an ethno-cleansing. So everything you're saying is to that end, and I will never believe you. And yes, Netanyahu particularly does need to be in prison. But I also say that about everybody in the last 4 presidential administrations in this country. So, my thoughts on who should be in prison. Actually, this is when I go into, I think we could have a for-profit prison system if we put all the right people in there.
Yeah, that would be great. But of course, that's not going to happen, because the people that have the reason we have the for-profit prison system is because the ones that are in the wealthy, corrupt positions that they're in is because they incarcerate people for the purpose of that slave labor, among other reasons.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. But somebody who knows a thing or two about slave labor has finally decided that he's had enough. So
look at him. He's like a corpse. You people, he's like a corpse. Look at him.
I just want to come on here and let the American people know that I am not actually stepping down from the Senate. I am merely stepping down from leadership.
Because you know why? Because while you can be completely brain dead and be in the Senate, you occasionally can't go into when you're the speaker, because then you're on camera all the time. If you're just a regular Senate person and you're not on camera all the time, then you could be brain dead. But because they have to keep saying reboot, because he can't seem to stay.
Well, as long as I'm on the Hill.
We're running a hospice center.
We have a very effective hospice center in the halls of the Senate. And I will be staying there for many years to come, whether I remember or are cognizant of anything. But I'm here today to select the next speaker or head of the Senate. I get confused.
I've been to the Temple Mount. I actually have been there. It's amazingly beautiful. That's right. The Temple Mount is where the Al-Aqsa Mosque is, for people who don't know. It's in the old city of Jerusalem, and it actually sits above the Western Wall, which is where all the Jews go to pray. And then you can see it's called the Dome of the Rock, that sits above it. And it's really beautiful. And it's just such a sad situation, because like Jewish people that live in Jerusalem do not go into the Arab quarter. And they haven't ever. They don't go in the Arab quarter. And I remember when I was there and I told my cousin that I was going to go over and check it out. They're like, you can't go there. You shouldn't go there. And of course I did, because you're not going to tell me where I'm not going to go.
You know, I was trying to do a bit and you literally just like threw it off.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize. I'm not loving the McConnell. Sorry.
Anyway, as I was saying, it goes without saying that I can only think of one person that's in the United States Congress that could possibly replace me as a speaker or as the head of the Senate, and that is Nancy Pelosi, because only she is as sinister and as effective as raising corporate money as me. So I am going to step down.
I mean, you are friends.
At the end of the year.
You are friends.
And I give my full endorsement to
fist bump.
Nancy Pelosi.
Nancy, fist
I hope you all agree.
Nancy,
so Mitch McConnell will be stepping. I really wish you didn't mess that up. I don't know why you did that. It's like it just completely threw off the whole thing.
I'm sorry.
So McConnell's going to step down. Apparently, Rick Scott is interested in that position, which of course he attempted to get last time and got himself in trouble. But
from the Grim Reaper to Voldemort, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the Dems down here are trying to fundraise off that idea that we can't let Rick Scott get into the Senate Majority Leader position.
That's not going to help you.
Yeah, probably not. Maybe have a better platform, not take the corporate money. Just little things. Needs to be some really big wholesale changes. Ultimately, I do think that McConnell is going to try to handpick his successor, but it's not going to work. I think that this is Trump's party.
And who does he really think it should be?
I think they mentioned John Cornyn of Texas.
Okay, that piece of shit was, but I'm saying, because when I lived in Texas, he was, at one point, he was on, I want to say, he was either the Attorney General or on the Supreme Court, or Justice on the Supreme Court. And then he became a senator after I left. And he was horrible in those positions. Like, he is just not a good person. That is not a good guy.
Yeah, Texas politics is what it is. But, McConnell's been around forever. I still think, was it 2020, I think was the year? I'm pretty sure that was when he was running for re-election. And the Dems and the Republicans worked in conjunction with each other to make sure that he stayed there. Why is it okay to still be there until 85?
And not only that, but here's the best.
No one says that it's okay.
They still get their pension.
Yeah, it's true. I wonder how people now feel about Bernie and whether or not they think that term limits is not necessarily a good thing.
Well, and I've said it many times. The truth is that we shouldn't need term limits if we had a functioning electoral process and a functioning republic. We wouldn't need term limits.
If you're asking me if that's a spoon, as long as it's a spoon for some ice cream or yogurt, I'm totally fine.
Where do we see the spoon?
Is this still a spoon?
Is it still a spoon?
It's from the Matrix.
Okay. So, I'm sorry. I didn't get the reference.
The spoon bends in the Matrix.
Right. Yeah. Is it still a spoon?
Are you sure?
I'm not concerned about the spoon as long as the ice cream's still ice cream. Yeah. If the ice cream still tastes like ice cream, then I don't really care if it's a real spoon.
Where'd you stop today?
Okay, so today we went to a mayor's breakfast this morning. Peter and I went to this annual real estate mayor's breakfast. So it's basically a big room full of real estate agents and all of the mayors in southern Broward County from all of the municipalities talk about what their cities are doing. They're selling their cities to the real estate agents, and that's what it is. It's a sales spiel. And so then after that, I needed to recharge because that's that. And so we went to this Japanese bakery that I've heard about that I wanted to go to, and it was really good. And I got a box of donuts, and I love these Japanese donuts.
What's it called?
Oh my God, what's it called? Like ha or ya ta. Oh my God, I can't remember the name. I can't remember the name of it.
Maybe you smoke too much.
No, you took the picture. Look on your phone and see what the name of the place is, for God's sake.
That's why I take
But you guys, if you have not tried the Japanese donuts yet, which they're so good, they're the ones that it almost looks like little dough balls all connected in a circle.
Mama Yatai Donuts.
Mama Yatai Donut. And it's in Davie. And there's one in Fort Lauderdale, and they're opening a third one, but it's local. And if you guys have not tried these Japanese donuts, they're so good. And it has something to do with, I believe, that it's rice flour is the taste difference, which I like regular donuts too. Trust me, I'm an equal donut lover.
If you want, remember, Pete doesn't work for cheap. So anybody who's stepping up, I know.
You want to dance?
I know.
He's going to dance for it.
If you want Slick Willie, if you want Trump, if you want Bernie, I haven't done Slick Willie in a while, but we're going to need some.
It's formaldehyde. No.
We're going to need some contribution. Oh, because Hillary apparently opened her mouth again the other day. She just cannot help herself. But again, we need some love. We need some love for the show. We don't ask for a lot, but if you want the impressions, we got to see some change.
See, that's why you shouldn't go off on Mitch McConnell for so long. You give it for free. If you're going to give away the milk, nobody's going to buy the cow.
True, but I don't have a mask from McConnell. I wonder if that actually exists. Let me see.
Oh my God, he's now going to try to find a Mitch McConnell mask. You can make one.
Yeah, that's got to be there, right?
You just got to. All you have to do is print out a picture of him and put it on your head, cut it, make it big.
That's it. That's all they got.
What else would you need? It's just a picture.
Like an actual. It's so bad.
So bad.
This is what they've got. That's it.
All right, you don't need that. Masks. You don't need a Mitch McConnell mask. He's ridiculous.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah. So I guess you got to pay to play, right? And if you guys want to chat with Jen, you got to be a Patreon.
That's right. So
I chat with people in the chat. We're talking about if you want to correspond, if you would like further correspondence with Jen, be a patron.
On Monday, we will have.
We're in the afternoon, I see.
Yes, we're Monday afternoon. We're going to be speaking with Cal RCV. So there is another grassroots effort in California to get ranked choice voting passed in the state.
Is this somehow affiliated with Yang?
I don't believe so.
I wonder if he's.
I'm not sure. Well, we'll find out. We're always happy to talk to these grassroots organizations. Another person from California we're going to be speaking with eventually.
Is
pull his name up. He's running to replace Jess Bowden's taken spot. So the guy's name is Ryan Kojasta. I guess that's how you say it. So apparently he knows you.
He knows me?
Yeah, and he's running for San Francisco
DA.
DA.
He knows me personally or knows of me?
I guess he knows, or maybe knows
it doesn't
sound or something.
I don't know that name.
No, Sable, we are not. I don't know why people keep asking this question.
Only in work. This is... you could say work husband. No, I have a real husband. His name is Jason. And
he's not imaginary?
He's not imaginary. We've been together since 1991 and married since 97. And he is
twins.
And he is a physician and has no affiliation with politics. And he is also a comic book enthusiast and does comic book auctions from our studio, and so all his comic stuff is in here too. So there is an actual Jason Perlman that is my spouse. I don't talk about it because he's not public and he's not into it like that. He's supportive, but I would say not enthusiastic about my political stuff. So, but yes, no, he does exist, and he's a little less than 2 years older than me. We graduated from college at the same time. So
at the same time?
Well, I'm a year ahead.
Oh.
Because I graduated high school when I was 17.
Oh,
and I had just turned 17. I'm smart like that. I did skip a grade. So that's why he and I are the same year, but he's my age, my husband. And Peter while is younger than me, is not young enough to be my child. So I do appreciate that people think spouse, because we do have on occasion gotten that he's my kid. And that's annoying as hell. That just pisses me off, because I'm only 12. I'm 12 years older than him. But seriously, I am not old enough to be your mother.
Gee, thanks, Randall. I didn't think that we had that type of
we're second
look-alike. Jen, you have some fans.
Oh, I'm sorry, but it's never been a secret. It's always been very public information. It's in my bio. Lives in South Florida with her husband and 2 children. Like, I got 2 dogs. It's not a secret. I'm sorry.
Speaking of Marvel Comics, what is Jay's passion?
Let me tell you guys, if you
only saw the wall.
You guys have no idea. So Jason and I, since we've been together, I mean, he started collecting comics when he was 7 or 8 years old, and he's been collecting ever since. And ever since he and I have been living together, we've always had to have off-site storage for the amount of comic books, because they can't be in a garage. You know, they have to be in climate control. And now basically he has been unloading a lot of inventory, but he also is getting new inventory. I don't know. So the comics have been, for anybody who watches Big Bang Theory, I was Penny. In the 90s. I was the original Penny. I was Penny. I would go with him to the comic book stores, and his friends were all like that. And yeah, I walked into stores where they're like, oh my God, there's a girl. There's a girl in here. I see a
Should
girl.
probably show them like at least one of the top comics that he has.
I don't know what he has sitting up there. There's something he's got listed for $650. I don't know what that is. But anyway, so guys, so Jason does exist. He is real. And I'm sorry that makes you sad. But it is. I don't mention names usually of people in my personal life, because it's my public stuff is not really their thing. I mention Graham and Reese. Those are my boys. And that's because I birthed them. So I'm entitled to mention them. I birthed them. I named them. I kind of own them. They're mine. So other than them, I don't mention names usually. What do you have?
So I have a very special comic book. I'm not going to show you the price. But this is
okay. I don't know why this is special to you in particular. Well, you can show the price.
All right.
I don't care.
This is an original Captain America from 1968, and it's a 9. I mean, this is
and
crazy.
it's $2,700. Yeah.
I mean, this is pretty impressive.
This is the kind of stuff that I have. This is what's going on here.
Yeah. See, and you can see, like, this is like real, like 1968 type.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff in here. He's got.
What's the point of actually having something that you can't even read?
Oh, no, because when you grow up with Jason Perlman, we basically we've been together since before I was old enough to have a drink, but. What he always did, Jason, his thing is every week on Wednesdays, the comic books come out, and every week, and he always buys one to save, one to read, or multiple to save in the case of like the death of Superman and those. But always one to save, one to read. And that's just how it is. And the ones that are to save, you don't touch them. They're boarded and bagged, and they live that way.
Nelson wants to know if he also collects comic book statues.
We have some stuff. He does have some merch. If you're interested, the name of his business is Crime City Comics, and he's on Instagram. He does lives on Instagram, auctions. It's Crime City Comics. And he also does them with his partner that's Code Blue Comics. That's a friend of his. And they have let me see. It's comics. Here, I'll look it up. Because you guys are interested. He'd be happy for me to.
Got some comic fans here.
Yeah, no.
He's got the goods. Look, like I said, he got a.
I'll tell you exactly what it is. Hold on.
Captain America first issue from 1968.
He definitely is the person. How do I find his thing?
I will.
Here it is. It's Crime City Comics 1. Number 1. Crime City Comics 1. One word. And so, yeah, and he does have merch and stuff. I don't know he doesn't keep stuff listed, but if you were ever on one of his lives, first of all, they're constantly drinking scotch. They have a spinny wheel. They give out prizes. They're ridiculous. They have regulars that go on this. It's like a giant live stream.
They're going to let him know. They're going to let him know that they know you.
Yes, tell him Jen referred you. But, we share a studio. So they do all sorts of stuff. But if you were to message him and ask him about certain collectibles and stuff, he very well has certain things and knows people who has things. He's connected in that world of the Comic-Con people.
Randall wants to know about the doggy dog.
Okay, so this is a dog named Wraith, and one of our viewers, Chip, it was his dog that died, and he just sent me a thing about it, and first of all, we're dog people, and plus, this is a very particularly beautiful white shepherd. And so I just thought it was sweet. And so I sort of started the wall of the Rainbow Bridge. So if anybody's like love dogs and sends me a picture, I'd be very happy to put.
We used to have a very, for those of you who have not followed our show from the beginning, when we were in another location, there was a very festive wall.
Yeah, well, we had a screen background and it was just decorated, and I had my Thurgood Marshall picture, which is now over here, but that was here. So Wraith has sort of replaced Thurgood Marshall on this, but I'd be happy to put that up. I don't know. We're dog people. So, and also my husband, I don't know that he would want a picture. Seriously, I don't talk about my family people because they don't ask to be on this. They don't ask to be public affiliated with my political stuff. So I don't name friends. I don't name people. I don't do that. Like, I'll name people by their occupation. Like, I have my acupuncturist or whatever. I even mentioned it once. I mentioned my massage therapist, but I would never say who that is.
Guys, please make sure you go over to Instagram and TikTok and follow Generational Change and also Jen Perlman on Facebook. New to the show.
Now we're getting all
stupid.
personal. We've done our origin story. The origin story basically is we met. The basic origin story is we met at the end of a 2016 campaign for Tim Canova, who was running against Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and we had both worked on that campaign, and we met on that campaign and just sort of stayed in touch. And then at one point, I saw him on with Jordan on Status Quo. So really, it's kind of funny because I watched Status Quo because I watched Status Quo. And then I was sitting there and I'm like, wait a minute, that's Peter sitting with Jordan. And so then I messaged him while he was live with Jordan. And then we just sort of started communicating from there. And then basically at some point.
We met up at a comedy show.
But it was even before that.
No, what I'm saying, when we met up at the comedy show, I'm like, you know what? You would actually make a pretty.
You didn't say it that night. You said it afterwards. We had talked about it. Like, we had talked about it. And I guess you had sort of realized my quote unquote resume, like how I look on paper. Yeah. And he just basically said, you would be a formidable opponent for Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And I'm like,
very, very happy to have you.
Thank you. And he just said, you would be a formidable person for Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Would you, consider doing that? And I thought that was nuts.
That's one of the nicest ways of describing, I would say.
Yeah.
And JD, yeah, it's probably better that it stays that way.
He's off in there's nothing there.
Well, unfortunately, what ends up happening very often in the political arena for people that are kind of thrust into also a position of celebrity, because that's kind of what happened for about a good 8 months.
It's weird as hell to me.
It becomes like an ego trip of sorts.
He could tell you, like, it's always weird to me if anybody even recognizes me. If we're somewhere and somebody recognizes me, I'm always it's weird. But the thing, and I always say this for anybody who's ever interested in politics, seriously, there's two main things you need to have as a candidate to be successful, but also to be good at it. Okay. Like, just because somebody can pay their way in through buying the campaign and getting a seat somewhere doesn't necessarily make them good at what they do. But you really need two main things. And one is you need a small ego, and you also need really thick skin. And those two things do not often go together. And the problem, honestly, with Tim is he is both a big ego and also has extremely thin skin. And those two things together do not make well for this environment. That's what I think. And so for me, I don't have a big ego. I really don't. I'm not a competitive person. I don't have a big ego. My skin is fairly thick, but that's only really because I am not on social media and he is on social media. And that's one of the reasons that I'm able to do it, is that, like, the people that say mean things, I really don't see you.
Well, since So Smart, So Stupid, I'm sure that's not your real name, but we're very happy to have you here as a new supporter of our show.
Absolutely.
I did ask somebody to contribute, probably wasn't expecting a $1.99, but hey, I work for cheap.
Okay, here it goes. This is what you're getting.
So I just wanted to come on. It's been a while. You all look really lovely. And are there any new ladies in the chats, Jen? I mean, anybody that I should know
you're so
about?
gross.
So Smart and So Stupid. I mean,
Well, her avatar is very cute, but I don't know. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a female person.
Well, listen, I don't need her to be smart. I need her to be so hot and so stupid.
But again, I don't know that it's even a female person just because the avatar is. I mean, yeah.
I'm telling you.
Get with the times.
I'm crossing my fingers.
Not to mention, there's all sorts of different identities and all sorts of stuff. And
you're a brat.
That's a Bratz doll.
Oh, that's even better.
But I still don't.
I like brats as long as they behave. You know, that's really all that matters to me.
I was Barbie. I was a Barbie, interested in Barbie when I was little. Well, it embarrasses me to say that because I feel like I'm better than that now. But I really did like Barbie.
Jen. You're better than a lot of things. You're not better than me, but you know, you're pretty good.
My favorite thing was I had an I Dream of Jeannie set. For anybody who does not know I Dream of Jeannie, it's special. And Barbara Eden is special. Say nothing bad about her. And I had a Barbara Eden doll thing, and it had a Jeannie bottle. And she would go in it, and it was like a doll, and you could open the Genie bottle, and it was her little couch inside. This was like my most favorite toy ever, and it was way more important than my Barbies. That's all I'm saying. My I Dream of Genie bottle and Barbara Eden doll.
Hey, listen, I dance for the money, baby. So if you're going to sell your crypto, and that's a very legitimate way of making money, by the way, you know, you definitely want to give it to Slick Willie on generational change. I mean, that is what it is, right? So yeah, you do what you're going to do, and this channel is certainly going to be very appreciative of all the contributions that you give. I mean, you know, I don't dance for free,
Arnie
but
jokes.
I'm also kind of cheap, so.
Arnie jokes. No, when I say thick skin, I don't mean about like. I just honestly, I don't care what people think about me. I really don't.
That's Sandra. She understands the pain I'm going through.
No, when I say thick skin, no, just to clarify, like I really do not care what people. The only two people besides myself that I care who think about me are Reese and Graham Perlman. If you're not Reese or Graham Perlman, I really don't care what your opinion of me is. But what I don't like is negative, nasty meanness in my headspace because I just don't need it. It's unnecessary. I don't care what you think, so why do I need to see your nastiness?
So
if somebody has constructive criticism, feel free to email me. generationalchange@gmail.com.
Well, before I go, I just have to come on here and let everybody know that if you haven't liked and shared the stream, you best be doing that because the show could use the help. But I also came on here because I wanted to let everybody know that everyone out there that's complaining about the Supreme Court and
the Supremes?
Yeah, the Supremes. You know, everybody's blaming you know, people for not voting for Hillary and, you know, wondering how we ended up.
Could you blame us?
I should just remind people that we really took it to Bernie in 2016 during that primary, and a lot of people just decided to go with Trump as a result. I think maybe we do bear some responsibility for that. But unfortunately, a lot of them like to pretend like that didn't happen. That's rewriting history isn't really good. It hasn't worked for me too well. I've tried desperately to rewrite it in my favor, but it just doesn't seem to stick. Like Willie, get it? Stick Willie.
That's Slick Willie. That's so
Slick
gross.
Willie, Stick Willie. You know, it's all the same.
So gross.
But whatever works.
How was Epstein's Island?
Very accommodating. I mean, I have not actually been to that place. I flew on the plane.
Bullshit.
You know what I have a habit of doing is I just get on the plane and I land and stay on the tarmac. I don't actually go to the location, and you can never prove that I actually did.
Yeah.
Just ask Loretta Lynch. She'll definitely vouch for my ability to stay on the tarmac, and that's where you belong.
It's okay. I think Dershowitz will eventually sell you all out. So whatever. That little worm will sell out would probably sell out his own mother.
Yeah, no, he was terrible. He didn't do me any favors. So I'm not out here bragging.
That's what I'm saying. He'll sell you out if he feels like he has any risk. And he's right now, it's not looking good with some underage people and him massaging him.
Yeah, he definitely.
So I would look out for yourself because he'll take you all down with him. He knows everything. Never, you don't want. That's the thing. He has the kill switch. He is the kill switch.
I definitely have a good use for a good lawyer like Dershowitz. As long as he's protecting me and not protecting himself.
Dershowitz is one of the most disgusting public lawyers I know of. Like, honestly, I'm trying to think if I can think of somebody more disgusting than him that's like a lawyer.
Just remember, you're never going to get your way. I wrecked the country. I would have wrecked it again if Hillary had gotten in more ways than one. I would have been taking advantage of every room in that building and not just the Oval Office. But, you know, I digress. I'm getting a little long in the tooth, but as long as I'm around, I'm going to make sure that nothing positive ever happens for the Democratic Party ever again. And
that's for sure.
You know, if Trump gets back in there in November, well, you know, don't say I didn't warn you. Bye.
So, And you make him so ridiculously like peppy.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of how he is, right?
No, I mean, I don't think he is. I think you make him be more of like, and it's funny, it's caricature, but like of buffoony. And I don't think he is.
No, he's very sharp, and he's.
And I think, and I've always, him and Hillary have always been a partnership. I think it's always been an agreement. I think that's just what it is. And
see, you really have a new buddy. Are you like?
Do you see what's happening here? Are you talking about me? I've been trying to fix this bowl for like a half an hour, and now my screen just fell out.
I think she's talking about herself.
Oh, that's hilarious. We should get together. And now my screen just fell out in the garbage, and so now, and I don't have any screens here, and so now I have nothing.
How very unfortunate.
First world cannabis problems.
But remember, he didn't inhale. So with that said, we're very appreciative of every one of you that are here. So Smart, So Stupid, Being New. Chris Garrett, Sable Minor, Schultze, Me, Myself, and I, Brian, Ray J, Tony D, JD Party Hat, Travers with the quips, Sandra.
And I know Chip's here.
Chip, Firmware.
Nelson
Ortega.
You
Colinello.
You said Chris Garrett, right?
I did.
Sable.
Colinello, who is a little heartbroken. But he'll just have to get over that. He'll still stick around. Randall Giovanetti, who thinks we're cousins for some reason.
I prefer that.
Second, not first, which is, I guess that's.
I don't know what difference it would make in our context.
Loner Weirdo, also new. Great to see you and have you here.
Loner Weirdo.
Karen Hamilton. Who am I forgetting? Did I mention Sable?
Yes,
I
said
did.
Sable.
I did. You said Sable. Yes. We've had a very lively chat.
Sable, I think today. It was Schultze who today first learned that Anderson Cooper was a Vanderbilt. That's what it was.
Is it still a spoon? Don't know who you are, but I do like that movie. Richard just goes by Richard. Okay. Well, we're happy to have you here, Richard. Holly Horn. Great to see you, of course.
All the status quo peeps.
Yes. Well, we have a lot of crossover.
I know.
Which is nice.
I like it when I go. Because when I'm ever in the live there, and I always see Holly and Chris, and I saw Tony in there, and I'm always like, hi. I feel like it's like a little reunion of our people.
We're not going to cover this today, but we may cover this on Monday. For those of you who have not seen the clip that Tim Black released earlier today about why the deliberate movement to try to remove Trump from the ballots is only going to strengthen his resolve and voters' resolve. And it's almost to the point now where you have to wonder if the Democrats are doing it on purpose.
Well, we said this the last time. Yes. We've been saying this since the day. Everything they do to go after him just martyrs him more and more and more. It doesn't help the situation.
Steve Grossman, of course. Z-Bird, of course.
I'm telling you, Steve Grossman made us really young, attractive Jacques Cousteau.
Jacques Cousteau.
It's the hat, and this is why, because it's the cap he's wearing in his.
Doug Greensberg is here. And remember, I coined the phrase Picari sellout. I haven't heard anybody using that.
And I honestly would not even know that person if I fell on top of him. Like, I wouldn't know any of those people.
Well, you know now.
I was happier not knowing.
Remember, the ceasefire was before October. I'm just saying. It was before October 7th.
Oh my! I can't watch those shows because it's so infuriating to me. And there's nothing for me to gain from it.
Well, once you know it's a lie. Piers Oro. You came in early. I didn't see if you stuck around.
I cannot, you guys, I don't watch that. The only time I see it is on clips on other people's stuff because I can't watch that. It's just too annoying to me. They're so stupid and willfully ignorant. I just have I feel like
Jessica Bond.
My time is better spent watching people that actually have something to teach me. I watch people that I watch, and guys, we've put up my news channels. I could pull it up again at some point, not today, but and other shows that I recommend for people as far as where I get information from. But it is never those things. It's never any of that crap.
Jessica, we don't mean to keep you any longer than you need to because you should get to bed. It is 10:30 for a lot of people.
Where are you? You're so cute.
Jessica, don't remember where she is from.
May or May? I need to know. How do you phonetically pronounce that? Is it my or May? So is it M-Y or M-A-Y?
Shout out.
Pronunciation.
Well, listen, despite the fact that you don't watch them, definitely a shout out to Katie Helper and Aaron Matte, two members of the tribe that Jen unfortunately feels like she's on an island by herself, but they are speaking truth to
absolutely.
power.
Katie and Aaron are righteous. Katie is a friend. Aaron, I've communicated with. I mean, I don't really know him, but I respect his work immensely.
Majorano is a great name, Jessica. Definitely on board.
Okay, so it's Majorano. Right. You kept saying May.
No, I didn't.
May?
No, Mai.
Okay,
Mai.
Okay. Because I was going to say she doesn't look Asian, but I'm not going to make assumptions. You never know how people identify. She might identify as Asian. I don't know.
What we're gonna, this is so, all right. You know what? Don't get me started.
We're
with this
being
shit.
woke.
Yes.
We identify as different things.
Yes, we do.
The most important thing to me is just why doesn't anybody give a shit?
Just keep again.
Just be nice.
Always speak truth to power. That is the most important thing.
Be kind. Why is that so hard to just be kind?
The last thing, you don't have to say anything, but I'm going to say it before we go.
About? Is this going to bug me?
Mr. Moskowitz, if you're going to make the statements that people are anti-Semites, when in reality what you're really trying to do is call people bigoted names, don't start something if you can't finish it, because clearly you can't. You are not a good representative. You are an insider trader, and you only have that job, much like Matt Gaetz, because of your late father. May he rest in peace.
I kind of hope he sees this, although we'll end up getting demonetized. I know. I don't either. I'm just saying that's the kind of thing that'll. He's the kind of little troll that'll go to demonetize us.
Do yourself a favor, and I would say it to you if I saw you in person. Do not fuck with my friend. Please don't.
Yeah, seriously.
It's not going to end well.
Yeah.
I know you think you're tough, but you're really not. And there are things that I could say. Let's not even go say. Just understand. I know you think you're protected and all that shit, but if you guys have not seen what Congressman Moskowitz, because remember, Moskowitz gets away with a lot of this shit because he's another grandstander. He goes on TV constantly and he shits on the GOP and he shits on Trump, and that builds him an active audience.
Except where he lives is what?
Well, it's not even about that. The point is that he is anything but somebody who represents working people, and he didn't wait a second until he got in there to start doing insider trading. So as far as I'm concerned, it is what it is.
But I will say this, that his district, which he is new, he's new there. He's not a fixture. He's not a longtime incumbent. He's not well situated there. He's new. And that district is flippable red. And I know personally one of the people running now as a Republican in that seat, and she's formidable.
Oh.
She's formidable. She's funded. She's liked. And for him to be acting a fool, I don't think he's acting, for him to just be a fool and be using the anti-Semite card like that, which is just honestly.
Let me tell you, I'm just saying, if you guys, rightfully so, give all the shit in the world to Matt Gaetz, because Matt Gaetz is only in Congress because of his daddy. And I have made that abundantly clear as many times as I can for several years now. Well, guess what? Jared Moskowitz is in Congress because of his late daddy, and that is a fact. So, with that said,
he was given a seat. Basically,
he was
given Ted Deutsch's seat.
Mm-hmm. So, with that said, smash that like button. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you share this live stream.
Oh, I love
Make sure
Gabor
you
Mate.
click the bell.
I love
It'd be
Gabor.
great to get on.
Well, you know what? We might. I mean, I don't know how hard it would be. First of all, I'm a fan. Let me put this out there. I'm a fan of all the Madtes. Okay, there's Gabor Mate, there's Daniel Mate, there's Aaron Mate, there's Hannah Mate. Like them all. But yeah, no, Gabor Mate is particularly very special in his being, and I appreciate him. He is a person of compassion and love. Yeah, and he exudes that. And to me, it's like, yeah, no, he's the real deal. I like him very much. And that's why when I hear people like Jared Moskowitz or Debbie Wasserman Schultz being somehow the voice of Jews and representing Jews by going out there and telling everybody and their mother that they're anti-Semitic and just playing that left and right, when there's people like Gabor Mate, who was born in a concentration camp, or Norman Finkelstein, whose parents and family were like totally killed in the concentration camps. Like, I mean, I don't understand how somebody like Moskowitz even like can look at himself.
Make sure also that when we leave that you guys go and make a comment on the stream as it has concluded. That will also help.
Well, Yeah, I'm sorry.
That will definitely help more people see this.
Madtes, yes. Yes, there's Gabor and his lovely wife, and I do not know her name, and I only know this because I follow Hannah, who's the sister, who's the younger sister of Daniel and Aaron. Daniel Madtes public. He also has, I believe he has a podcast as well. So he is also a public person. Daniel Madtes, like you could find him on Instagram because he also does stuff. And Aaron's an amazing journalist, but the sister also has, I do have a fantasy, especially now with the facial hair. And I am disappointed about the Biden endorsement, but it hasn't totally killed him for me yet because he's still a net positive.
He's trying to get the best he is at least working for his workers.
He's working for his workers. He's just trying to do the best he can by them. But yeah, I do have a fantasy. I do.
So with that said, we appreciate you all. Thank you for always supporting the show. Make sure you mark the calendars Monday, 1 p.m. Have a great weekend.